Hello, welcome to the I'm Angry, Annoyed, and Amused podcast. I'm with Mike. So next to me is Matt.
What's up?
Over there is Johnny.
Yo, yo.
And across the table is the other Mike.
Yo, yo.
I did it again. That's messed up.
I didn't do it again. You have no proof I did it the first time.
True.
No, we had that.
that.
That's on.
Yeah.
I'm going to put
Not
that.
anymore.
We're talking about, we have recorded an episode. We're re-recording, just to let everybody know. But
And everybody messed up.
so today, we are talking about birthright citizenship. Particularly, I guess we don't have to reread the thing because it'll get confused
Fine,
about
just
where we left
explain
off.
it, yeah.
But yeah, pretty much the argument really stems from Trump recently, I guess 2 weeks ago now, made an executive order to end birthright citizenship. It's right now like going through the courts, I guess, like it's embattled, I guess you might say. And the argument of I believe the constitutionality is centered around like a specific phrase in the 14th Amendment about jurisdiction, the whole thing. We weren't really going to talk about that. We're more so talking about, I guess, the spirit of the law and is birthright citizenship, like, does it make sense to be, and for anybody, if anybody doesn't know, specifically what we're talking about is if two parents who are not U.S. citizens have a child on, like, geographical, I guess, U.S. territory, that child is a U.S. citizen without the parents. I'll just start with like what I believe is I don't think it makes sense. I believe it was started 14th Amendment. I don't know itself, but the idea was like post-slavery, and was because at the time obviously slaves weren't like technically citizens. They were like property technically, and like there was different laws or whatever. So the birthright thing was really to allow slaves to be you're just a U.S. citizen because you were born here. Is sort of the argument, which that I think it was totally right to do at that time. I think we live in a different world now, and it's not being used for like slaves born in the U.S. obviously in 2025. And I think the real reason, the argument to stop it, I think primarily is like the anchor baby thing of two illegal immigrant parents having a child here, and now they're like, well, you can't separate us from the kid, you can't deport the kid. Sort of becomes this whole quagmire issue. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's a good word.
I'm waiting for Matt to say. Matt's holding on really tight.
Read a book.
Johnny, read a book.
Read one book.
It's like a difficult situation, a quagmire, like
It's a quagmire, yeah.
yeah. But nonetheless,
Is it quagmire? Isn't
it's a character in
I was going to say.
in Family Guy, but it
Family
also
Guy,
is a
right,
word.
Family Guy.
I don't know which came first.
Quagmire.
Probably
The word.
Probably the word.
Probably the word. Anybody got thoughts on it? Everybody's just
I don't think it's right. I think it's a way for people to cheat the system. Have their baby here, then that U.S. citizen, is tied to all the rest of the family who could start to come over because of that. And I just don't think it's a good thing.
I think it doesn't make sense. It's like one of those things that like doesn't pass like the common sense. Like what would they say? Like the smell test, right? Like just a general.
I don't.
It's like, and most countries don't have it.
Right.
Like I don't know. I'm not gonna give a random percentage. I don't actually know the percentage, but like
We should
let's say,
look it
like,
up.
Yeah, but probably like legit. At least 95% of the countries in the
Most of it is
world
based
Not
off
allowed
don't
to
do
go
it.
have a baby there. And say
That's just not how it works. If I had a kid,
citizen of that
yeah,
country,
if me
right?
and my
Most of it is
U.S.
based off
citizen
your
girlfriend are
parentage.
right, yeah, mostly it's parentage. U.S. is like geographical location, which is
Yeah.
a bit weird. It made sense. Again, it was started because of slavery,
Right.
and it's like, well, you were born here, like to a slave who was like born in the U.S. They're like, well, I'm not. What am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? I have to apply for citizenship. Like, this is all I know. And for them, it makes total sense at the time. I just think we've out paced that or whatever. Like it was a solution for a problem that existed in a specific time
zone.
and now it just doesn't make sense. And we should, I think,
I don't think it should be.
refocus on the parentage thing. I think that makes more sense, personally.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I'm kind of not for it as well.
Matt, you want to go? Matt's the only dissenter,
Yeah,
I think.
I think ideologically, I understand. I think it's a great part of American culture to be born here and be a citizen. I think it's an honorable thing that America has done for a long time. But even outside of that, I understand the ideological argument of like, no, we should actually strengthen what it means to be a U.S. citizen and not just have, the random occurrence of your birth, right, where you are geographically. I understand the argument. I disagree with it, but I understand it. What I don't understand is how this actually hurts any illegal immigrant at all. Which it doesn't.
Well, again, it's not supposed to
Do you
be
think
a
but it-
punitive.
but it
the
does.
idea of
But-
it isn't to
But do you
punish
think
immigrants.
does.
Do you think they should be punished?
That's not. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I think absolutely.
What's
I
a
think
fair
if you're-
punishment?
if you
What's a
were
fair
here
punishment?
to get deported if you're here illegally. You get
But
deported.
not the kid.
And do what with the kid?
And that I think is something you have to figure out. I think
So-
that I'm not here to
Well, what
offer.
would
A
you-
I was
solution.
asking.
I'm not here to offer a
while you were
solution
upstairs,
to
I
the
asked this
problem.
question. You think if the parents get deported, you think it's better for the child to go into a foster care because he still speaks the language.
It depends
but
on a lot of things. It depends on the age of the child, right? If the kid's 17,
let's go.
right?
Okay, 17. Let's not.
Right.
Let's go from 5 to 12.
That's why I say it's a case by case basis.
Yeah, but you can't do law by case like
But
that.
But Mike's point,
Because every kid's
going
gonna
to
choose to be with their
isn't really
parents.
a law to be, it's not really a law necessarily at all. Actually, it's an executive order, it's just an interpretation of the.
Yeah, well, getting rid of it is
the,
I'm saying that's all constitutional. That's going through the courts.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about it coming up as like a topic of debate is really about, I think, like the spirit of the law.
Right, exactly.
And
I
is birthright
understand-
citizenship, does it make sense?
And if
as
you
a-
want to
as
have
a
if you want to
idea?
have that argument, we could, because I like I said, I agree with birthright citizenship even on an ideological point. I'm not here to offer a solution to what we should do about illegal immigrants. Nobody has that solution. If
I
we
do.
had it, it would be solved.
Yeah, but you're
But the solution-
What I don't understand is
Nobody has
you're
that
you're
We do.
you're,
No one
you're
wants to
taking
do
a
it.
birthright citizenship
Exactly.
argument and you're saying it's
Yeah.
not being properly punitive to the illegal immigrants. You're punishing their
punishing
child,
their child,
who's a
right.
U.S. citizen. But what we're saying is like you can't really like it's not a punishment. It's just it's like a clarification of what it means to be a
I
U.S.
understand,
citizen. Like
but-
it's not a punishment.
But
None of it's
actively-
made to be
but
a
actively
punishment.
it does harm children of immigrants. No.
No. I
does
don't
it- how
think
does it
I don't
harm
think it
them?
harms them at all.
disagree.
How
I
does it
mean,
harm them?
I think that's the core of the disagreement. I think that you are feeling like taking a, we'll say 12-year-old and putting them back in their parents' country is
With their parents, though.
with
You
their
kinda
parents.
separate it.
I understand.
That's
but
the most important
I understand.
thing.
With their parents, you're saying that is fine and that makes sense and that doesn't
100%.
affect the child negatively. I disagree. I think it affects the child.
It's like moving from one state
But
to
Yeah,
the
like
state
it might
with your
affect the
family.
child, but it's
Matt,
like
it's
the
not.
parents,
It is.
the parents had
the
a
parents
conscious
thing.
choice. The parents know,
Right.
that this is something that could happen.
I understand
They
that.
make a conscious
But the
conscious
kid
choice.
doesn't.
We're not hurting the kid. They are hurting the kid.
It's like not a
they are hurting
Of
the
course,
kid.
except for the fact that since 1865 it hasn't hurt the kid, and now it is. So you by
What do you mean
championing
since
this
1865 it hasn't hurt the
are
kid?
Since the
are-
14th Amendment
Since the 14th
started.
Amendment,
I mean,
are hurting the kid.
I don't.
So you know what I mean? It's taking it
You're not hurting
away.
the
You're
kid.
now taking it away
But
from them.
But it's going to happen
We
on the
didn't take it
future.
away
And
from
not for
them.
the and for
Their
the
parents
record,
did
and for the
something
record,
illegal.
it actually goes into effect like 30 days after he signed it.
Yeah.
So really, like there are pregnant people who can't get on planes now, who are
Yeah, but like, they
But
shouldn't.
that's
but
what's
Matt,
good.
the
Shouldn't
only
be.
the only people
that's
who
what's
that
good.
possibly is about
are illegal
should
immigrants.
not be here.
Right.
So like, I
Sure.
don't feel there's no sympathy for like.
exactly.
But for the kids, is the
But it's
No,
not. It's
we
not
can't
about,
keep
this is the
doing
thing.
things for
I'm
kids.
not being. It's
mean,
not a
okay, then
punitive
that's
act
the
to the
disagreement.
kids.
We can't
Again,
keep doing
that's
running
the
this world for
that's
kids.
the
You're imagining this
disagreement
punitive
is
action.
that-
It's not that. It's
is-
just a
These kids become
comment
adults
on
one day.
sovereignty of the
Yeah.
U.S.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
What it means to be a
They
U.S.
become-
citizen.
They become adults one day, so
Right.
and then they bring in all of their family. They can sponsor them, and they all come
But
over.
they sponsor
So-
them, and then if they're sponsoring them, they become citizens.
Right, but they weren't shouldn't be a citizen themselves to sponsor all these other people.
So you just don't want people, even if they come in and become citizens.
No.
He's talking about like the baby.
no.
He's talking about like being
I'm
the
saying-
idea of an anchor baby.
I'm right,
Is
an anchor baby
is
who
that
didn't have a
illegal
real
immigrants,
But all these
citizenship.
people
They're
are
not
becoming
citizens. They
citizens.
just have a kid and he just gets it.
Yeah.
Or she just gets
and
it.
then the people
Right.
come in and are sponsored by the kid.
By
to
the
then
kid who
become
should-
citizens.
right, but
Right, but
he
his
should
point
have
is the
been a-
initial citizenship
should have been a
giving
citizen.
doesn't make
No.
sense.
Right.
The initial one. If
Right.
if you go through the steps,
I
go
have
through the
no
thing,
problem with
that's
that.
That's the like good.
Yeah, go that.
Good.
I have
Yeah.
no problem
It's
with people
great to have
coming into
immigrants.
country. Absolutely.
Illegal immigration is a
100%.
problem.
Right.
Like it's very simple. Nobody's against anybody. Like anybody. I don't know anybody who's
But-
against
But
immigration.
then, so you're now saying that you care by the means in which someone becomes a citizen?
When it's a specific,
Yes,
when
in
it's
a way.
about birthright
Yes.
citizenship, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
Like
I
there's
disagree.
a couple ways to do
Look,
it.
I've
I
been
disagree.
through someone who had to do citizenship, and I saw the process. And one of the things was, could you afford to live here? Is the country got to take care of you, or are you going to do it yourself? There was like all these hurdles you have to jump over. It sounds crazy, but it made sure that that person coming into this country was not going to take from the country, wasn't going to come here and mooch off of it.
there are countries you visit that you can't go there if they don't think you can afford to
Right.
go there.
And
they
you
won't
have-
even let
you
in.
have to have
For
a-
to travel.
For everybody coming as
No,
citizen.
yeah, you have to have a job.
can't
You have to have a
travel there.
job
Yeah.
that is like
Well,
a
that's-
worthy job.
You have
You
to
can't
have
be like,
insurance.
oh, I'm going to be a bartender. Well, that really doesn't serve our country well. Like those were the things.
That I think is the core.
Right,
Of
but-
the argument, realistically, is that especially with the comparison to other countries. Now, personally, like I said, I think it's a great and powerful thing about America that you can come here with nothing,
But
with
there's
no
great and
Matt,
powerful
But
things
you gotta
to this
apply.
country.
You don't
you
get to
can't
just
just
walk
let
here.
everybody walk into the country and yes, you had a baby.
I
and
understand the
Matt,
other side
all
of
these
the
things that
argument.
you're
I
saying-
mean,
I'm
here,
never
Matt,
saying
I'll
I didn't.
attack you with empathy here, right? Let's say
Sure.
you're cool with you're pro birthright because you think it's just better to have more American citizens, whether the parents are doing something illegal or not. We just want more kids born as Americans. Cool.
Not exactly, but sure.
Why does Mexico and Latin American countries why are they lucky enough to be close enough to America to walk here?
I was going to say
And the rest
too.
of the world, they
Can't
can't.
do it.
Right.
They can't. You're born in the Middle East, you're just screwed.
You're right.
If you're born in
That's a
Mexico,
big thing.
walk 10 miles north and
I
you're
don't
good.
I don't understand
Like that
your
doesn't
point.
No.
because your argument, right? Generally, it sounds like for immigration is America should have a relatively open door
Yeah.
to all immigrants because of the whole melting pot. It's like what we're founded on.
Right.
And I agree with legal immigration.
Agreed.
But you should not be allowed to just walk across the border. And what I'm saying is you want to be like anybody like they all just want a better life and the better life is here. But why do only some people even get that
Allegedly, yeah.
choice? Right? Like you
Right.
can't
But it's not my
illegally
fault
it's
they
much
don't get
harder.
that
The only way to
choice.
illegally immigrate from any other part of the world than Latin America is to first fly to Latin America and then walk up. So why do they get a better shot?
Because they're there. I don't know.
Right, but like, so I'm saying because your argument doesn't make sense because you're like, just take everybody who
take
we can.
everybody in?
That's not how immigration works.
That's not what I'm saying. Take
Even in America,
everybody
like
in.
we want,
I'm
immigrants
saying-
are good.
I'm saying no. First of all,
Like, it's a positive
if you
thing,
wanna
but you
get
have
back
to do it the right
point-
way.
The point of like how we were arguing the first one, all of this is based on the fact that the majority of time people are legitimately coming here illegally with the intention of having an anchor baby.
Yes.
It's not
to
about the
Johnny's point,
intentionality
I-
of having the kid, but if you
but
have
no,
a kid
but-
here and you're both
but-
illegal,
but Johnny
it's the
is
same
But
thing.
Johnny's fighting for that. He actually actively.
Some people
believes
do that, for
people
sure.
are- yeah, I believe some people do it. I think
Some
it's
people
the
do it.
overwhelming.
And like a good amount.
I think it
I
is the
think a lot of
overwhelming
people.
minority. I think it is
Of
that.
children born, so you're saying of
children-
the birthright citizenry in America,
Yeah.
you think most of them are not anchor babies. Like you think most of them are overstayed visas, just like happen to get pregnant, forgot they were even here illegally. Like that's your
I don't-
argument.
not necessarily-
Like they're like, I'm
not
an
necessarily
I might
forgot-
as well be an American
Not
citizen at
necessarily
this
forgot,
point.
but they were careless about it. Yeah.
No.
That's-
Absolutely.
Then
See,
look
that I
at,
think doesn't
look
make
at,
sense.
Look at the opposite way. If I went to another country for a work visa and I knew I was only there for a temporary place and I went with someone from my country, married, dating, whatever, and then we had a baby in that country, if I was only there to do so, I would still went back to my own country,
Yeah.
to my friends, my family, with
Absolutely,
my
that is-
whatever. But they're not doing that. They're
not doing
staying
that.
here.
They're having it here.
Which is going to show that they're doing
committing
it to
a crime.
become
I mean,
a citizen.
You say it's not.
But it's a
you say
long
it's not a
process.
large number of people doing it.
Oh, we're doing
No,
it
no,
fast.
no, no. I said it's not the majority.
So what's acceptable though? Like
I
What's
mean,
acceptable?
I don't know.
I mean, you gotta draw the
I
line
think that's a
someplace.
fair
It's
question.
either
I think
right
that's
or
a very
wrong,
fair
right?
question on what like the.
I think it's bigger
what the
percentage is that.
threshold is.
I think a lot.
it's very
I
hard.
mean, the last number that I see on it is 250,000 babies
Like a year or total
in a year.
A year.
that are birthright citizen babies.
Yes.
Like okay,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Lots.
it's a lot.
That's a lot. It's
lot
a
of
quarter.
people
That's
come
a
into
quarter
the
million a
country.
year.
Yeah, a lot of people come into the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they should. But like, why do those kids just happen to be American citizens now?
I think
Like,
that
for
because
no- you know what I mean?
chances are,
they
regardless
were
of the
born
crimes
here?
of their parents, they're going to continue to be raised in America.
But this is the thing. You
They
keep,
shouldn't be separated from America because of that.
Well,
but why?
either,
But like you're
Matt,
modeling
then-
it in a
but
way
Matt,
like that
then
you're
you have
punishing.
to-
It's not a punishment.
But you
I
have to
think
make
it
a choice.
is.
No, it's
right?
not.
If you have to make the choice, and I know you said you're not here to solve it,
Yeah.
right? You're going to argue the point, but you should have a solution.
I
Right?
would-
Is
no,
your solution
If I had a solution, I'd be in politics.
Is your
I
solution
don't have a
separate
solution.
the kid from the parents?
The answer is it's a complex
separate the
issue,
kid
and
from
I
the country?
don't
But
know.
but you're pro.
But
You're for it, which means you must have an
my
idea
point
of
is-
why it's better.
My point
and you're
is
not
that
making any
I
argument.
I think the fact that 8 months from now, there's a kid who could be born and their parents can stay here for the next 15 years.
Illegally.
Illegally. And that kid can be here for 15 years, be raised in American culture, and then be sent back to a country they know nothing about.
No,
is
we'll keep them here.
unfair.
We'll send the parents back.
That's fine.
Well, if that's what you want to do, that's my
No, no, it's not what we
No,
want to
it's
do.
not what we wanna
That's
do.
your argument.
We're trying
That's
to do
your
what you think is
argument.
the most
You wanna do
compassionate.
That's
way
what
to
you
do it.
think is the best
You
thing to do.
agree the parents are illegal and
Yeah.
should be returned.
Okay.
Your question is, what do you do with the kid?
Right.
What
My
do you
que-
do with
well,
the
my
kid?
And your
question-
argument
my
is
question
keep
is, what
'em,
do you do in this
keep 'em.
situation? But I don't think it's solved by an executive order changing the interpretation.
Again,
of
we're
the
not.
14th
But that's what I
Amendment.
said.
But
We're
that's
not
not
really
what- we're not
arguing about
arguing that.
the constitutionality. We're saying the idea of
That's for
birthright
somebody else to
citizenship.
argue.
Yeah.
The idea of it that we're talking
What
about
would
right
your
now.
most
What would
compassionate
your
solution
what's
be?
the
I
best
have
situation?
no idea. That's what I keep trying to tell
Well,
you.
then you can't say
Then,
that
like-
either one is wrong. Then you
Yeah,
can't
if
say
you
either
don't have
one is
any
wrong.
I'm not saying
idea.
it's wrong. I'm saying that I'm saying it's wrong because I don't think that this is the way to go about it. Correct.
Right, because you think it's punitive to a kid who did nothing wrong.
Matt,
And our point is it's not punitive to a kid.
And I
It's a general rule of
I
sovereignty.
understand you believe that, and that's fine.
But then what's the other choice that you have?
The other choice is I don't know.
Matt, how about this,
I mean,
Matt?
I don't know. There could be
Why
another
don't-
solution.
why don't we-
Just
I don't
spitball
know.
in here.
Matt,
What would your solution be?
How about we just give U.S. citizenship to every person in the world, and they can
Anybody
exercise
can
it
come and go
at
as they
will?
like.
Why don't we just do that? Is that the most compassionate answer? That's what you want?
I don't, Mike.
But like, would you mind that? But I'm asking you
no, I
because
think-
you're saying
I mean-
like citizenship. Yeah, kids should get it, and then they should be allowed to stay. Yeah, we'll deport their parents, and that's better somehow. But you're like, that's not better. I'm just not going to make an argument for better. Well, what is your perfect immigration scenario?
I don't know.
Make
That's
them
a-
all.
I don't have a
Everybody
perfect
in the
immigration
world
scenario.
is a U.S.
Again,
citizen. If they want to come,
if I
they're here.
had-
If they want to go anywhere else, they're
Matt,
there.
what do you
It's
do?
like,
I
you're
go
not making,
back-
but you're not making any affirmative argument.
I go back to a child is born to addicted parents.
Understood.
And somehow the parents are addicted for 15 years of this kid's life until they finally get busted for something and they're going away to a home. What do you do with the kid?
You put them in foster care.
Oh my God, that's horrible. And
Or give
honestly,
them to a-
why
or
not?
give
I just
them
don't
to
get
a
how that's better
relative,
than
or
deporting
give
them
them
with
to a
family.
relative.
most kids that grow up
break-
with parents
break
like
up
that
the
would want to
family.
be with the parents.
So
still.
breaking up the family is okay.
I
In
mean,
that situation,
you have
it's
to break
okay.
up the family.
But
I mean,
not
what are you
in
gonna
illegal
do?
But
immigration.
not in illegal
situation.
immigration.
In illegal immigration, I didn't say it's not okay to break up the family. I said it's complex. I never said I was fully
But
against
the
sending
addicted
the
So then
parents
take the
thing, the
side.
addicted parents thing is not complex.
I never said
Simple solution.
I
Take
mean,
the
that's,
baby
that's
away.
a pretty simple solution because the parents are clearly unfit to raise the child. I mean, that's.
Are they? They raised him for 15 years.
Kid's alive.
We got to
The
check
kid's
on the
doing-
kid. I mean,
The kid's doing okay.
it depends how the kid's doing. I guess. I guess. Yeah. All right. You made
I
it a
just don't
complex
get-
issue. Now I got to check on how the kid's
I
doing.
know, but you
Maybe
are-
They're not addicted. They're drug dealer parents. How's that?
They're
Better
just
example?
committing a crime.
They make good money.
They're drug dealer parents.
They don't do.
I mean, yeah,
they're
the
good
parents-
parents.
They're criminals.
They're
They're
good
criminals.
parents, but they're
Yeah.
criminals.
Right, whatever-
they're good
whatever
parents,
they
but they're
are.
They're
criminals.
good
There you
parents,
go.
but they're criminals. I mean, I don't.
Good parents.
Send the
you
kid to
made it-
prison?
But
You
they're
made it a
criminals.
complex issue. No, I'm not going to send the kid to prison. Obviously, that's why I'm not going to
So
send
you're-
the kid to their
Right. So
country.
you're okay, but then fine.
But the
it's okay,
solution
Matt. It's okay
in
to
this
be on
country
the
right
side of
now-
separating the parents from the kid.
Yeah.
You just have to stand on that.
I know,
And you're like,
and I said
you're so close, but then you're refusing to say yes. I think you should separate the families. You got to stand on it.
It's complex. Do I think that's okay? Let's put it this way. Do I think that separating the family is better than moving the family back? Yeah, I think as a general
Okay.
blanket
Okay.
rule, I think it is better.
All right, I can accept that
because
as
the kid-
an argument.
But I think it depends on certain things. If the kid is like 3 years old and can't raise themselves, right? I mean, if
No.
you're a grown,
No,
that's what I mean. It's a
we don't
complex
deport U.S.
issue.
citizens. If the family,
And
if the
that's
parents
my
get caught
point.
when the kid's 3, that kid just gets
That
to
kid-
grow
and
up as a foster
exactly.
kid.
And that's my
His
point,
parents can
is that
try
it's
all
a
they want
complex-
from whatever country they came from to get him back. That's
Again,
not what we do.
and
We
that's
do
why
not
I say
deport
it's
U.S.
complex.
citizens.
Now, I think
there's no
that-
complexity
I
here,
think
Matt.
that it's a
It's
relatively
a
good
simple.
idea.
It's not
really not
complex.
that complex.
It's really not.
And I think it's
It's
a
not.
it's
Why is
complex.
it
I think
complex?
it's complex. And I think there's a relatively good idea.
No, it's
I think it's a
not.
relatively good idea to actually be able to stagger the parents' deportation while mandating, say by a certain date you have to be a permanent resident. Or you get separated.
But
from
yeah,
you
but
see,
now you're
even in
put-
this argument,
no,
you're
now you're
making
putting
the
them-
point for anchor
But then you're
babies.
putting them
Yeah.
ahead of other people.
And then you just said you're putting them ahead of other people without saying that.
How?
Because you said they can stagger them. The stagger them is going to take a long time, and all these other people have to do it.
takes a long time to become a
takes
citizen.
It takes
People
years.
are working to
You
become
stag-
citizens
It
now.
It takes
You
years.
stagger.
So one goes home
No, but
for
not even
2
just
years,
citizens. They could
comes
just
back.
And you
again.
get to keep
resident.
one.
They
Yeah,
could just
that's-
be permanent residents.
So you're
They-
fully okay with splitting up the
Becoming a
family
permanent
in some
resident
way,
takes a
shape, or
while
form.
too.
It takes them. Of course, it takes them a
Right,
while.
that-
But you stagger it that number of years.
And who pays
It's
for
not-
it? They don't have the
Who
money
pays for what?
to go through all that. That's an expensive process. It's not all free.
They have to pay for it, or if they can't figure it out, they get deported.
Right.
It's
And,
not
and
like-
and we keep the
And
kid
we
again.
keep the kid.
And we
Exactly.
kidnap
Yeah.
the child.
and then the child stays.
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's just like
That's
okay.
his logic.
You're gonna hear this back at some point, and you're gonna realize like that you're on the side of family separation.
Yeah,
and it's
I think
just think it's
I'm-
better
it's not that I'm
to
on the
not have the kid
side
be a
of
U.S.
it.
citizen, and the family stays as a unit. If
And you
one
could
or
say
both of
that's
the parents
fair.
Look, all the-
decides
all
they
the
go
parents
through the
have to
process
do is explain
to
the
become a
process.
citizen,
They just
back
have to
over.
explain
Then
what
the
they
kid
did
becomes
to
a
this
citizen.
child. You know what
That's
I mean?
it. Sorry,
back-
the 15-year-old kid who's like, oh my God, mom and dad, you guys were illegal the whole time.
Right, exactly.
I have to move to
have to
Mexico.
move to Mexico
Yeah,
now.
it stinks for that kid. It does. But it also sucks for any kid whose parents decide to do anything illegal and they don't get to hang out with that parent anymore.
If I
Your
was
dad
that-
goes to prison. I was like, oh, that's not fair to me. It's not fair to
Not
me
fair
that
to
my
me that
dad
my
goes
dad
to
was a
prison.
criminal.
So-
Yeah, it's not fair.
I want to go to prison.
Yeah, it's
with
not
him,
fair.
or I
It's
wanna
not,
stay
but it's
home.
also not about you.
I mean, you can't be compassionate to all ends. Like,
Right,
you just
right.
can't. Like
All right.
something.
I mean, hey, that's how
something
you
has
see
to
it.
happen.
But that's
It's
what we're doing with
unfortunate.
laws nowadays. Now we're putting compassion on laws. Depending on
That's
certain
terrible.
laws,
If that's how you
you know,
see it.
depending on the law, if we can make it work,
No,
we'll
Matt,
make
don't
it
say
work.
how we
don't
see
say
it.
if
It's your
that's how you
argument.
see it.
You're separating
that's
the
not
family.
right.
I
I mean, that's
You,
just
you
trying
live
to
in
shut
a,
us
you,
down.
you live in a
from
world where
arguing.
you're gonna want like kind of what you're saying, a prison system with little dorms for families to live together, so you don't separate them for like local.
I'm not fighting for no.
No, I'm not saying
that
you're
would
fighting
be
for, it,
your-
but
that's the logical
that's a
conclusion of
logical
your
conclusion
argument.
of your argument
You're fighting for the parents' family to stay together.
in their
Yeah,
country.
in their country.
in their country.
Which is
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
Which I don't see any
All right.
issue with.
I mean, all right.
I'm
That's how
fine
you
with
feel.
that.
That's
I mean, again, this is all like you do that as a deterrence for people to do this.
Yeah, and I see
We-
it as a
We
deterrent, sure. I don't think
incentivize
it'll
people
work.
to come here and do this
I don't think
because
it'll
we give
work,
all these
but
benefits to them.
I see it as a deterrent. I don't think it'll work as one, but I understand like that's probably the main
It would
goal.
work.
It would
man.
work. It would 100% work.
If every time you found people like this, you sent them back, right?
Yeah.
Number one, you're getting rid of the people that are here illegally doing this, and number two, other people are not going to try it because they know they're just going to be sent back.
I disagree. I think it's gonna
course you
happen
disagree.
anyway. I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but they won't be U.S. citizens, so it doesn't matter. Fine, come here and have a kid now. You don't get a free ride.
You get
Right.
nothing.
So you're
Yeah, but
removing
they're
the
just
free
gonna-
ride part. You can still do the thing. You can still
Right.
have a kid in America.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're now not a U.S. You don't have to go through we can't get deported because our kid's a U.S. You're gonna
Right.
separate me from my 2-year-old, so
Or-
they don't get that argument anymore. You're like,
or
that's
you gotta
cool.
put me on
It's
all
a
the-
beautiful kid. We're sending you all back.
All back.
Or the other side
Fine,
where
fine.
I'm on the system, all systems now, because I can't afford it, but I have an American kid, and you have to support this kid for me.
Right.
That's
yeah,
another
right.
thing.
That too. That too. It's like
now-
why we
yeah.
just get this random
Right
kid.
now, it's your kid, not our property.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
take care of it.
Yeah,
you're
which
here
is nuts.
illegal. You figure it out.
I mean, all right.
What's your? I truly do not understand your point of view here. Like, what is your?
My point of view is okay. Let's take this right. Let's say it is a deterrent and it doesn't work. Right. And
Matt,
there are-
it works because you change it, not
Yeah,
as a
listen.
deterrent. It's not.
Let's say
Matt,
it's
the
a
thing,
deterrent.
but getting rid of birthright citizenship, the idea behind it isn't to stop kids from being born.
I know what I get.
Like, it's not a
I get what
deterrent
you're
in that
saying.
sense.
All right. Okay. You're missing what you want. You said you want to understand what my point is, right?
I do.
Okay. So, you're born here. You're not a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Parent, they do it anyway. They come here illegally. Okay. Now that kid, they don't even find out until they go to apply to college, and they need their social security number, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they
That's
find
bad
out
on the
that
parents.
they find out that they don't have one.
I feel bad for that kid.
Now,
But I feel bad for the child of criminals. I feel bad for a lot of people.
right.
Let him
That
finish his
doesn't
point.
change the thing.
You feel bad, but you feel bad for the kid, right? So now that kid is put in a position like this, right? First of all, they can't go to college anymore because their literal only
come back in
option.
their country.
They can't go to college here.
They can't.
There are colleges in other countries.
Yeah,
Matt.
okay, if you say so, but they can't.
There
go to
are
co-
there
no,
are
I mean,
there are colleges in
I
other
mean,
countries.
you say so.
but
There are
If-
colleges
if
in
you
other
say
countries.
so, Mike.
I'm saying if you say so, like they're gonna go to college in another country. They're not gonna do that, right?
might
Because
have to.
Why not?
Because their decision now comes down to I have to report my family and uproot everybody so that I can go to college in another.
They don't
country.
have to do it. They can go on their own there.
How are they gonna do that, Johnny?
Same way anyway. They can go to
They're,
college
they're
in
not
another
a
country.
citizen of anywhere.
They're
They're not a citizen of
what happens
anywhere.
when
They
you
are
break-
stateless.
that happens when-
Where
I don't
are
know,
they
dude.
going to go to
Most
college?
countries, it's your parentage.
They,
Most
but they
countries,
have to apply
Right.
to
You
it.
can-
But they have to then
But
apply
why
to
is
it.
that our
Right.
problem?
That-
Why is
that's
that
the
our problem?
parents' problem
for
Send
cheating
the
Send them back
system.
to where they came and make that
As
country's
of right
problem,
now,
not our
it
problem.
has nothing to do with you at all as an individual.
What
It's
do you
got
mean?
nothing
No,
to
as
do
a
with
country.
you at
There's a
all.
sovereignty. There's a U.S. We are U.S. citizens.
I understand, but you don't. I don't understand. You don't think that kid has any claim to America at all? Being in America, that's insane to me.
No,
I mean,
if they want to look
I mean,
as an
it's just
18-year-old,
insane to me.
can you make add another law, right? Get rid of birthright citizenship, and then say if you were tricked by your parents for 18 years into thinking you're an American, but your parents are both illegal, you didn't know, and you guys have snuck by for 18 years, take the test. You went through U.S. class, you
Yeah,
went
but
through
then
U.S.
that-
high school,
but then
take a
now
citizenship
they're
test,
faced-
you get to become a citizen.
Now
Fine, whatever.
Now they're
but
faced with the
the
decision
kid has
to go
do
through
it.
that process. They have to say their
It's not a
parents are
decision.
illegal and get their parents
But
deported.
Matt,
no?
why do you?
No,
put,
I don't
Why
see
do you
that.
put none of this on the parents?
Really?
I put all of it on the parents, absolutely, but it's not the government. It's not. It is not up to the government to say if you're a bad parent, then you're done. We're not going to take care of your kid. I don't think it's right for the government to do that. And I understand that's the opposing view is the conservative view. No, actually, the government should not be responsible for irresponsible parents. I disagree. I think that kids shouldn't have to bear any of that. just for being born. I think it's unfair, and I think it's
So
something.
like, what's
that,
wrong with Mexico?
I love
What's your
Mexico.
problem with Mexico
I have
that
no
it's
problem
so
with
evil
Mexico.
Mexico's
to get sent
beautiful.
back to Mexico?
No, it's
like
not.
I don't get.
you send me to Mexico.
All these countries are
I'll go
supposed to be
back.
better. Like the U.S. is supposed to be terrible.
It's
Yeah.
not.
But
no,
suddenly,
it's not
when it's
that-
birthright citizenship, it's like, no,
the
they have
best
to be
country in the
here.
world.
They should be
Mexico,
here.
It's that they were
God forbid you
raised
send them
here.
home.
It's not that Mexico.
Right,
is terrible.
but that's
not
the
their
parents'
home, Mike.
fault.
It's
That's
not
not
their
the citizens.
home.
That's not the
But
country's
it's not
fault,
their
Matt.
home.
It's
Mike.
not
It's not
the
the- it's not US'
responsibility of
fault.
the United
But
States
I
to take that
understand
on.
I get what you're
It's like
saying.
anything else.
I
You know the
just
problem with
disagree
here's the
with you.
problem
I
with
think the
America
US should
and
take
American
that on.
citizens lately. This is my thing. I know America was found on immigrants, right? Almost every country, in a weird way, had immigrants come in. There was so many wars and people invade. Everybody's
Nobody's
mixed.
indigenous to anywhere.
Right, nowhere. But at one point, you create a society of rules and regulations of how the countries are going to be, and how you got to stop following this like old time, which is weird, especially with very younger people who are fighting for all this change. Like, and I'm not saying I'm for or against. I'm just speaking how it is. Right? You don't want old statues of these people because they did that. You don't want like everybody's like, oh, racist was a bad thing. We got to get rid of that. But yet, like. I'm so lost in the thought because it drives me crazy. Like you're fighting for something that doesn't exist anymore. You can't just have everybody come into a country anymore. It doesn't work. We can, as a country, grow, take care of the country. We have to stop it somewhere. You just has to. We can't allow everybody to just walk into this country. I don't care. It was built on immigrants at one point. At one point, it has to stop. You can let immigrants in the legal way, but you have to have a checks and balance, and you have to grow this country properly, or it's just going to sink. It's going to die. Like you can't do it.
That is
Like
the conservative argument. Yeah.
it's the right argument.
How
you know?
is like the liberal argument let everybody in? I don't.
Right,
get-
I don't see how that's
I don't
right.
It's not
understand.
necessarily- like I
That's
said,
like
and
a
I've
ridiculous.
said this before. I don't necessarily have a stance on immigration as a whole. Birthright citizenship, yeah, because like I said, you're even saying like, what's so bad about Mexico? Nothing, except for the fact that the kid has no relation to Mexico.
How does
They
he not
do.
know his
Besides-
family?
They do
besides
because they're
blood,
parents.
but they'd have no experience there. They have no knowledge of.
Well,
what
that's
it
bad
is.
on the
I can be-
parents
I can be
then.
empathetic, but like, why? Like, that's not our fault.
Okay.
We-
Matt,
we like.
but
I
Matt,
don't
so
get.
then why
Matt,
are
if
you
that's your
changing
if that's
something?
your argument,
Yeah.
then keep the kid here, send the parents back.
Yeah, I'm-
If that's
I'm fine with
listen,
that.
if that's
Keep the
the
kids here,
only
put
way,
some parents back.
then yes.
Well, you got-
That's-
you
What the
got-
only way, Matt?
you got
Make another way.
basically-
We're
you got
telling you there
basically
are
two-
there
there's
are
two
only two
choices.
things to do. It's
There's
not
two
complex.
choices. There's two choices. It's
Illegal parents have a
people
kid
say
who's
it's
now a
complex
citizen.
thing
What do you do?
when it's not really complex?
I
right?
disagree.
It's not
It's not.
complex.
because, like I said, you can stagger the time. Now you have a problem with that. Now,
No,
it's
you're
putting
adding
people above
complexity
certain-
by
You're
making
adding
up
complexity.
these
Because
things to
that's
allow
how
them to keep
solutions
living here.
work,
No,
Mike.
but isn't
No.
this
It's
simple?
not just black and white. Like you just choose one.
Crime
or the
kind of
other.
is, right? Like you kind of either committed a crime or you didn't commit a
Right, but
crime. It's
what
very
you
rare that
do-
you like
what you
sort of
do
committed
with
a
the
crime.
people and the people connected to the
Matt.
person who
No,
committed
kids
the crime
of criminals,
is not.
they're an unfortunate byproduct of the criminality of their parents. Nobody
Yeah.
loves it when kids get sent to foster
Right.
care.
Go back-
Nobody's like, thank God,
Go
thank
back-
God these parents
go
committed a
back to the-
crime so
go-
I can
go back
like
to the
shank
serial
this
killer
kid.
parents.
But the
right?
question is,
the
what
serial
do
killer
you
parents.
do?
What do you do with the baby?
Right.
Right?
I mean,
you
look, the
stagger
first-
the parent. You stagger.
Like,
the
oh, you're not
parents,
gonna both go to prison.
We'll
No.
send you for
Well,
10
you gotta
years.
raise the kid.
Send you for 5 years. You raise the kid for 5
right,
years,
but
and we'll
then you
take
go-
one out.
obviously the crimes of
give you a
illegal
stipend.
immigration and serial murder are different.
A crime's a
That's
crime.
the
crime is a crime.
crime is a
Crime is a
crime.
crime.
Oh, come
A crime is a crime.
on.
A crime is a
Are
crime.
you joking? A
crime is a
Crime,
crime.
Matt. This is not. This is black and white. Look, are there
But Matt,
levels? Is
the-
stealing something the same like
There's a
morality?
huge difference between saying, okay, look, you could stay
Matt,
in the
the
country for
children-
5 years, but you have to be permanent residents
the
in
kids-
the end, and you're actively killing people, but because you have a kid, you're gonna let you raise the kid for 5 years.
Okay,
the
fine.
kids-
Matt, okay,
but the
not a
kids are
serial
getting-
killer.
the
Not a
kids are
serial
getting the
killer.
same
Not a serial
punishment.
killer. Dealing drugs.
The kids are
Dealing
getting
drugs.
the same
Oh,
punishment.
how about this?
Still more
Theft.
harmful,
Theft.
more harmful
Theft?
than illegal immigration. It actively harms a person. Are
Theft?
you freaking
Theft?
crazy?
Theft?
Theft?
Yes.
Theft actually harms.
You
Theft.
don't
If I rob a Dolce & Gabbana store,
Yeah.
who's that
Who's that
harming?
harming?
Dolce &
All
Gabbana.
right, all right. All right. It doesn't actively harm a person.
Yeah, if I
Actively
rob
harms the
somebody's house,
business,
fine.
yeah.
There's a real. Yeah, but also, Matt, there's a very clear line of that illegal immigration harms U.S. citizens.
It's a theft.
Like it just does. It is theft. Like
Steal
it's the
money out of
same
my pocket.
thing. It's the same thing. It's a crime.
I mean,
Fine, look, Matt. I
then-
don't
but
think
then that
that
gets
just
into a
being an
whole
illegal
argument.
immigrant. I don't think they're all serial. Like obviously, it's not a 1-for-1. But what we're saying about crime is, when you commit a crime, if you have a kid, you don't get special rights because you have a
Because you have
child.
a child,
You
exactly.
don't. No matter what the crime
Regardless
is,
of what
whether
the crime
it's
is.
theft,
Lowest
murder,
level to
doesn't
the
matter.
highest level.
Doesn't matter. If you're going to jail for 3 months, you don't get out of jail because you have a kid. You still go to jail
I
for 3
think
months.
not looking-
That kid's just
oh,
on their own for 3 months.
That's just.
That is true.
No, Matt, you don't think at all
That
about
is
the
true.
kid. You don't think at all about the kid that has 2 criminal parents that did, a crime that didn't specific, it's not a murder, it's whatever, the kid gets taken away, and you think that's perfectly fine, right? But because the
But when it's
parents
illegal
come from
immigration,
another
now
country,
it's not fine.
now it's complex. Now we got to really think about this.
It's not that. No, first of all, it isn't, because you still have not yet named for me a crime, right? Let's say, okay.
Illegal
All right, I'll give you a
immigration
good
is a
one.
crime.
I'll give you a good one. All right. It's not because all you're saying are what are effectively violent crimes except for theft, right? I understand that.
But Matt, illegal immigration is a crime.
Okay.
You're not allowed to do that.
This person.
Matt.
No. This person is guilty of insider trading. They're supposed to go to prison. Right. I say
Both of them,
they
both
have a
parents.
young kid. I say they have a young kid. House arrest. Don't send them to prison. I say if it's a non-violent crime.
So okay, wait. So I got a question on that.
That's crazy.
Wait,
That's
Matt,
a great deal.
wait,
I mean, that's a
wait,
great deal.
but that's my question.
I'll go
so you
inside
have
and trade every
That's a
day.
good deal.
wait. That's
As long as I have a baby,
that's
I'm good to
nuts.
go.
Am I understanding? So you have one couple that has a kid, and they get caught, and you have another family that has no kid, same crime, and they get caught.
They
They
go to
go to
prison.
jail,
Because they
and
don't
the
have
other
a
ones
kid.
get house
Because,
arrest.
well, if one of them committed murder and the
No,
other
no,
one-
I asked
No.
two inside
Non-violent.
trading.
Inside
trading.
Two
So
inside
insider
same
traders.
exact. One set of family.
Oh, yeah.
So the family,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
family get
Dude.
to stay house arrest, and the ones that don't go to
Absolutely.
prison.
Yeah.
What?
So
no way.
So crimes, non-violent crimes, as long as you have a kid,
You're golden.
you're good to go.
If-
That's a
I mean,
genius
it's
plan.
good to go, you
That's
still-
nuts.
I mean, you still.
Matt, that's-
You still are.
You know what, Mike? Helmets don't
You're-
work. Helmets don't work.
I was gonna say this is way worse.
You're still convicted of a crime.
Yeah, but you're house arrest.
House arrest versus
I'll
prison.
get-
is
I'll get
okay.
house arrest.
I'd have a kid just to
All
avoid
right.
prison.
All right.
And none of that, I would do the
You
crime
think
now.
people would?
Of course you would.
Yes,
Don't
you
think
would.
people would
Of
do
course
that?
they would.
Then what's their plan after house arrest? What happens?
Who
What are you talking? After house arrest,
You're done.
You're done.
You
That's your
served the
sentence.
time.
What are you talking
That's your
about?
And
sentence.
then what do you do? You don't have a job, can't trade ever.
You do another job.
What is your argument here?
Yeah.
Matt,
You're avoiding
Matt,
prison.
while they're
You're
on house
still
arrest,
a
they can continue to trade all they
No,
want.
they can't. They
no?
can't continue.
They're
taking
house
that away
arrest.
from them?
They're banned from
So,
trading.
so
of
you're taking
course.
away their ability to earn
yeah,
a
you
living,
have to-
but you're leaving them with the kid to raise the
paying
kid.
now?
No.
But there's no ability
Who's
for them to
buying
earn
the
money.
diapers now?
That's a genius
So
plan.
not only do they get out of prison, and also they're like, and the government's going to pay. You can't
the
work,
government's gonna
so
pay.
the government's
You
going to
can't
pay for all
work.
this stuff.
We'll pay
so
you.
now you have a house. Obviously, you're going to keep the house because of the kid.
I mean, look.
we're not going to. No, don't worry about the mortgage. Banks
We-
will cover
we
it.
got that.
You got a kid. What are we going to do?
Crime
Dude,
rate,
that's nuts.
crime rate of families will rocket.
Skyrocket.
All right, so
Rocket.
Skyrocket.
I'm out of my insider trading house arrest is over. I'm going to commit security fraud, insurance
I get another
fraud.
6
I'm
months
going to
of
commit
house
insurance fraud. I got another baby
Listen,
here.
I would not mind getting I would not mind going to prison in
Every
my
9
house
months,
for
new
the
crime,
rest of my
baby.
life.
Every 9 months, new crime.
Yeah,
So-
leave me like I did think you wanted kids. Now we have 13.
A little old lady that lived in a shoe. I'm raking in money every year. Man. It's
I
like-
found a new system. I found a new system. This is great.
People are insane.
You're the insane
making
one.
the argument.
You made the insane argument.
Obviously, that's not how it works. You guys are saying like you could.
That's what you
You
said.
said it.
You said it.
I didn't say you just keep committing crime.
Why not?
You guys-
Why
you
not?
guys just
Oh,
keep
so
committing
on the
crime.
second crime.
First of
Second
all,
crime
you
are good.
can't
Twins,
make
you're
any
good.
money because when you commit a financial crime, you lose all of.
Yeah,
those
but they gotta-
assets.
But you're
But
saying
they gotta
stay on house
support
arrest to
you.
support a kid. How do they do that?
That's for the parent to
Matt.
figure out.
No, but you
Matt,
no.
Figure out.
Of
What are you
course,
talking
it's
about?
always
Matt,
for
how
the
are you
parent
gonna
to figure out
No.
how to raise
How
the kid?
are you
Nobody's
going to stop
arguing
that?
against
How are you
that.
going to stop them from committing another crime? How are you going to
They go
stop?
to jail.
They have a kid.
How
Why
are you
would
gonna
they do
stop
that?
the
Jail
inside
next
of-
time.
Oh, but they have a kid.
Oh,
They have a kid, Matt.
You could only commit illegal immigration once. You go to jail. You could commit multiple crimes. You're going
That's
to
not
jail.
true. You could come here illegally
Well, I
several
guess,
times.
yeah,
Get
I
deported,
guess
come
if you
back.
wanted to, yeah.
So you
Yeah.
could.
But okay, yeah. So in that case, send them back. Absolutely.
So only
Alright.
the second.
In that
So
case-
okay. So
If
if they
you
have
get
the
caught
kid on the
twice-
second trip,
If you
what
get caught
happens?
twice,
What
then they
happens?
send them back.
Oh yeah.
All right, good. All right.
Two
okay.
strikes.
We're
two
breaking,
strikes and
we're
you're out.
breaking them down. We're breaking them
Back.
down.
Then in that case, it makes sense
This
because
is what you got to do then.
Because
Anytime
I
somebody
think-
walks across the border, you're like, hey, back up 5 steps, walk across again. Now you can't have a kid.
I think
that's it. Solved it. Solved it.
Because-
You already were here. Backed
because
up.
I think
back. No
because
kid.
I think it's only a good solution because I think that coming here, getting deported, and then coming back to have a kid, I think is proof that they're coming in for an anchor baby. I think that's the most concrete way to prove that they're not just like overstaying a visa. and
Matt,
having a
but-
kid.
Matt,
They're
listen,
legitimately
Matt,
having an
it's
anchor baby.
unfortunate. I get
It
it.
is, like,
and
it
there are
stinks for the
people
kid,
that
but,
are
like-
here that really want to be here, and they have a baby, and it's unfortunate that they get caught and they have to go back. But laws have to be laws.
Sure.
If you start to bend the law in any way, because there's some compassion, that you have, then you have a problem.
But the law
people
isn't
have to
being
figure
like,
out.
the law
Matt,
already
listen,
exists. It's actively trying to be reinterpreted. The law exists. I'm saying leave it as it currently is.
It's no good.
Okay.
It's no good.
But your argument for leaving it as it currently is deport the parents and keep the kid, like kidnap a child and
It's
deport
not
them. That
kidnapping
is
a child.
keeping
Like
the
I
law
said,
as is.
It's
but
complex because
enforcing
it depends
immigration,
on, it depends
you
on
can
the
only
age.
separate
It
them.
depends on the age of the child. It depends
No,
on a lot of
Matt,
things on
it
the
does.
state.
But what you're trying to make this
can't.
complex when it
You can't
isn't.
do that.
Yeah, I disagree.
It's not a complex.
It is.
Matt,
I
the
disagree
child. You're
with
saying
you.
keep it as it
I don't
is.
know what to tell you.
As it currently stands,
Yeah.
two illegal immigrant parents have a child. The child is a U.S. citizen, right?
I know.
But now, assuming we want to actually enforce immigration laws, you must now deport the parents and keep the kid, regardless of age. That's just the law.
But
It's
I
not
think-
complex.
but
There's
I
no
think-
complexity there.
But the age of the child is complex. You don't think that adds a layer of complexity to the issue?
No.
No,
Then
it doesn't.
we can't have
No.
a conversation about this, guys. It's not.
Why-
how
why
you
does the
don't
age
think
matter?
that this because the age matters to the person's what's it called, relation to American culture.
What about their relation to their parents?
You can
That doesn't
take-
matter.
of course
So
it
the relation to
matters.
their parents doesn't matter.
Of course,
if they're a
oh
certain
my
age,
God. Yes,
they
the
should be
relation
able to
the parent
stay.
matters, but it is easier to take a 17-year-old, right, and and deport their parents.
were gonna say get rid of.
And get rid of their parents, whatever. Deport their parents and have the 17-year-old stay here than it is for a 2-year-old.
You think that's going to be easy on a 17-year-old to lose their parents?
I think it's easier
Apparently.
for
That's ridiculous.
easier for the 17-year-old to adjust to living
In a foster
I
home.
mean,
That's
to,
17.
These are the
You're
same-
on your own now, kiddo.
These are the same people that argue with puppies being taken away from their mothers at 6 weeks, right? Like you can't take the kid, but you'll take the kid away
I don't argue against that at
from the
all.
parents.
I don't have a problem with that.
Send the
Take
parents
Pres-
back
Pres-
as many
President will forget me
puppies
in a
away
month.
from babies if you as much as,
as
you
many
want
as you
to.
want
Yeah.
at any age.
Yeah, I think you can take puppies away whenever you want.
Because
to.
you hate dogs. You're a cat guy.
No, you can take cats
You're a
away
mean
too. I
person.
don't care.
You're a cat guy.
No, I just don't.
Man,
cat guy.
I think,
I just generally
think,
speaking don't give animals
Unfortunately, I
rights.
think it's an argument that you're not really it's not a complex situation.
I disagree.
It's very simple.
disagree.
There's laws. If the parents broke the laws, there's punishment. It's the same thing in this country. If parents break the laws, there's a punishment, and that punishment is to the
Yeah,
kid.
but the kid
You
doesn't
Kids
have-
are
don't look-
unfortunate
You don't look at
byproducts,
it like
but
a
it's not their
You don't look
thing.
at it like a
You're not
punishment.
punishing the kid.
You're taking the
Yep.
parents away. That is doing something to the kid,
It is,
regardless.
It is, but
you
moving
don't
them out
care
of the
because they're
country is
Americans.
Also, but moving them out of the country.
But you don't.
is
But that's the
also
choice you have to make. That's the choice the
That
parents
they're
make.
making. They're
It's the
making
same
that
thing.
choice.
But the
It's the
child
same thing
isn't.
for the insider
But
traders.
Matt, it's not
they
about
made
the
choice.
kid. I don't know what you're not getting about this. If
I
you're a
get
child,
what you're saying.
you right, whatever happens to your parents
is
happens to you. That it's just a thing. That doesn't mean your parents are allowed to commit crimes. So
Yeah.
I'm not blaming the kid. I'm not like angry
I'm not
at
saying
anchor
you're
babies
angry at
for being
anchor
babies.
I'm not saying
but
that either.
we have to enforce laws.
Yeah.
And I'm saying I'm on the side of I don't think it makes more sense to keep the kid and say forcibly you are not allowed to take this child out of the U.S. You're going home. We're keeping the kid here. That makes less sense to me
I understand
than
the
the kid's
argument.
also not a
I
U.S.
understand
citizen.
the
You guys are
argument
all going
completely,
home.
but
Like
I
that
think-
just
I think personally, it's harder to adapt to living in a new country than it is to adapt to living without your parents.
all right. That's
I'd rather live.
Okay, I guess.
I'd
I
rather
don't-
live in a new country
Matt, if your
than with a new
parents-
I'd rather
set
stay with my
family.
parents.
If your parents were
Yeah.
moving to
I'd
another
rather stay with
country
my
tomorrow,
parents.
what
In
would you
a
do?
new country.
So I would stay.
You would stay.
I would stay.
So you love the country more than your parents. That's fair.
I won't say I love the country more
Well,
than
he's
my
also
parents,
like
but
20 something.
I love
It's
my
very
life.
different when you're 14.
I love,
Exactly.
I
You're on
love
your
my
own, kid.
life more than my parent. Like my life currently, not more than my
More than your
parents.
parents.
Not more
I
than my
heard it,
parents.
I heard it.
But I love
It's on
more,
tape.
more than I
Wow.
do. More than I do adjusting
Make
to
sure
a
you
new life.
subtitle that one.
All right. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Too late. Too late. I'm cutting that part
That'd be a
out.
terrible Christmas.
that one, cut that one.
That's
I'm
not
not cutting out.
I meant that I'm not gonna uproot my life because my parents are moving.
Man, it's unfortunate, but listen, crimes need to be punished. You know?
Absolutely.
And whatever the downside of that punishment is, it is. But you can't just go on bending things for certain people because that's how this thing got the way it is today.
Hell.
Right? We bend and we say, well, we'll make an exception for this, an exception for that, and then before you know it, the exceptions are almost like the rule, and that's what people want. They want the exception to be the rule. And I don't think that's fair.
think it makes sense.
I don't think it's fair. You have to enforce. You stop this stuff by enforcing it. Like it's like anything. I mean, the borders were wide open, and now with just the changes that they made, the borders are shutting down because things are being enforced. People know they're not going to be able to come here and stay, right? And that shuts it down. So in the same vein, yes, there'll be some pain for some people, but it will slow down. and then they won't be paying for people anymore because you enforced it across the board.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the end product is ideally is that initially there is like that kid who unfortunately somehow doesn't know his parents are illegal. He's 12 or whatever. Suddenly ICE comes to his house and he's like, I gotta go. I'm not Mexican.
Right.
I'm an American. I didn't know my parents are Mexican. I feel bad for that kid. I do. But like that doesn't mean the parents now get to like they get away scot-free. Right. And I also don't think the better. This is a personal. You think it's better to be separated from your parents and put into foster care. That's fine. That's fine.
It depends on the age.
That's fine. I think that doesn't make sense.
A lot.
I think if I was 12 again, I would. If my parents got deported, I'd be like, I'm going with you guys.
Going with you.
100%. I don't.
I
think
would totally
for a
go.
second I would be like, no, I'm going to stay here and try it on my own.
Yeah, no.
As a kid, like
Even
if I was
at-
20, fine, but like you're an adult. Also,
Yeah,
like so,
I
whatever.
understand.
I'm
Even
just
closer
saying-
to that age, if my family was like,
No, right.
you
If
know,
they got fully deported, my whole
Yeah, like-
family.
if I was 17,
I love
17,
my family. I'd rather stay
18,
with them, but like
same thing. I'd be like,
still-
no, I'm going with you.
But I think that you
do
could,
it.
you can't float the parents because you feel bad for the kid. That's not how that works.
So what?
Right, you're saying you would do that if you had the choice.
No, I'm
I'm
saying
as
I'd
a-
rather
if
that.
the,
anyway.
if the government
But-
said, "Hey,
but there could be
12-year-old
people who
Mike,"
don't.
Yeah, but it wouldn't break
you
my
are
heart
a
as
US
much as the
citizen.
opposite.
I
No,
don't
Matt,
know.
I'm
I
saying
think it
no,
depends on the
Matt. I'm
situation.
saying there's always a choice. I'm a 12-year-old kid, and they're like, "Hey, your parents are actually legal immigrants. Sorry, you didn't know. You can either stay here
Yeah.
and figure it out on your own. You'll be in foster care,
Or go
so
with
you'll have like kind of a house. You'll move
Yeah.
around. High school, you got to figure that out for yourself. Nobody's paying.
But
for
you're an
anything anymore.
American.
You have no money, right? You're a foster. Like you don't have. Your
Nothing.
parents can't give you allowance. Maybe they can try to send it to you, but they're getting deported. We will keep you because you're an American citizen, or you can go with them.
Yeah.
I would 100%, and I think like 99.9%
I don't know. I
of
think it depends
children
on the situation.
would
I don't know
always
how
go
many
with their
kids-
parents.
I think it depends on the situation, the age of the kid, the relationship they have with their parents. I think it's like I said. it's
I mean, yeah,
complex.
some people hate their parents and
I
they would
think
love for them to get deported,
Well,
I
listen,
guess.
I
Like,
mean,
I'm not making rules based on that
give
kid.
the kid a choice if they're a certain
if
age.
you want to
I mean,
give
if
them,
you think they,
I
if
think
they,
if,
if think they're
I
of
think if
age
they
to
get
make
to
the
a certain
choice,
age,
If that's better,
that-
I guess.
I
if you
think
think
if you
that
want to
makes you
say
feel
they get to
better.
a certain age and they can make a choice, I think that's fair.
But I think,
But then if they
punishment
choose
is
to leave, they
punishment.
lose citizenship.
But then
also.
absolutely, yeah.
So
they choose to leave,
add that
they
in.
lose
I'm just saying,
citizenship.
so they don't
That's
get to
fair.
come back.
Yeah, they don't.
Right,
get to
It's
come
not
back.
like, yeah,
Exactly.
well, whenever you feel like
Right.
visiting, you're a U.S. citizen.
Right, absolutely.
It's like, no, if you're moving, you're done.
Yeah,
so
you're-
fine. If you want to let,
I think
if you want to let that,
I think
fine,
if you want to
guess.
give the kid,
I guess that's
I think if
reasonable.
you want to give the kid permission to, what do they call it, renounce their citizenship and move with their parents, I think that's
I guess that's reasonable enough.
I think that's fine.
I
think that's
I mean,
fair.
you can only do that to
That's close.
at a certain
At a certain age,
you know.
at a certain age, yeah. When they get
Yeah.
to, you know,
You can
When
only-
they're 5, they're just U.S. property. Sorry, sorry, parents.
It's-
Go home.
To me, it's really a one way or another thing. It's like
I think
Exactly.
they either all
That
go
way?
or
That seems better to
it's the
me than
parents going, the
separating
kids
them.
stay. I think you stay with your family. That would be my thing.
I agree.
Should be.
You know, the family figured it out for 15, 16 years in this country. They go back
They
to
can figure
where
it
they
out
came
there, too.
from, figure it out there, and if they want to come back, they work their way back legally,
Yep.
and that's
Seems
fine.
reasonable.
That's where I land on that.
Agreed.
Thanks for listening. That was a quick ending, right? I snuck it up on you.
Yeah. Stay angry, annoyed, and amused.